Yeah, so I think that we sort of came to foster care in different ways. I was around a foster family in my community growing up. They were the only foster family that I had ever met before. I don't know, even now looking back, like even before, until I got into college, they were the only foster family that I had ever known. So that always stood out to me. I thought that was really interesting and different, and just watching their experience as foster parents and like getting to meet some of those kids.
I'd always been interested in adoption growing up, seeing different family members go that route. And then whenever me and Katie started dating, she was just super passionate about the foster care side, and I didn't really know much about that. But with all of her experience, just working internships and stuff, she was like, hey, this is something I want to do. And so we started looking into it a little bit more.
And we ended up having a conversation with somebody in our church family one day who just encouraged us like to just start. And that conversation, on top of just like us finally realizing there's never going to be a good time to do this. There's always going to be a reason or an excuse to not do it. And you know, once you've seen the need around you, it's really hard to go back to ignoring that. So we just kind of jumped into it. I feel like a lot of families probably feel that way when they start, like you're being thrown into the deep end. So, yeah.
One of the hesitations I had whenever we were first having conversations was just with adoption. I was like, okay, that'll be our kid. But with foster care, there's always like the goal of that is reunification. So it's not, hey, this is our kid. It's, hey, we are stepping into this kid's life for whatever amount of time while that their parents can get a hold of whatever they're going through. And part of the ministry side of that also is not just loving on the kids, but loving on the parents at visits and getting to just pour into them.
Yes, people always tell us, like, I could never do that. I get too attached. My heart is too big. Like, these are just things that foster parents commonly hear from people who don't know much about foster care or have never really been part of that world. And our response to that is, like, that's the point. You're supposed to be too attached. These kids deserve that attachment, and it's what's good and healthy for them. And you just have to, yeah, like Parker was saying, really lean on God and trust that He is going to be there to hold you up. So we've seen God move in our lives in so many ways through being foster parents. I think one of those is that we have been able to see just small increments of restoration happening in families' lives. But then I think in our own lives, we just don't see the world the same that we used to see the world. It's really hard once you've stepped into something like foster care to go back to living your life the way you were whenever you're so aware of all of the needs around you.
Yeah, and then practical steps. Come find us. Come find one of the many foster parents that are a part of our church, and just ask to go get coffee or lunch and have a conversation. Ask the questions that you have, because I mean that's how we started, and it's an easy, practical step.
So if foster care is something that you are genuinely interested in stepping into, I would just say to start with praying that God would just continually open your eyes to not only the need and the brokenness around you, but also your own need and your own brokenness, and just that He would remind you that we've all been saved and adopted and redeemed by Him. And that's where all of our motivation and our ability to do this comes from.